Hi! Say hi! Oh, I have a cramp in my toe. She's probably gonna tip away in the background, aren't you? Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Grab your tea because today is going to be a good one. I mentioned in one of my vlogs about 2 months ago that I worked in Disney. I worked in the Disney store in Dublin in the Christmas of 2016, I want to say it was. I think I was in second year in college time and I worked there for 3 months. So I was there for quite a while. I got to know the ropes. Yeah, it was an interesting experience. Okay, so I started looking for a part-time job when I was in my second year of college, and I had worked in Primark Pennies the year before, so I wanted something a little bit different. So I started handing out random CVs into different shops, just like throwing them in. I applied for clothes shops, I applied for every shop, and I saw the Disney store on the top of Grafton Street and I was like, oh my god, I need to work there. I'm obsessed with this shop. Why didn't I think about this before? So I grabbed my CV and I wandered on in and I said, hi, can I have a job? Literally. There were some fabulous cast members working on the floor that day. Sinead Davies in particular was so nice to me. She took my CV and she handed it in. Hi Sinead, if you're watching this. And within about a week, I had received a phone call for an interview. Cue Sinead happy dancing. Like, I was literally like this going, oh my god, ma'am, I'm so happy. I'm gonna work in Disney. It's gonna be amazing. Rosie came over because she thought I was crying. Okay, I'm not crying. So I had no idea what to expect for the interview. I was absolutely delighted to even be chosen for an interview because I hadn't had that much work experience at the time. But I decided to do a bit of research online and I kind of found out that it was a group interview. So cue me with my social anxiety and inability to speak in public having an absolute freak attack. But you know, my parents kind of explained to me, well, that's life. In every aspect of life, there's going to be group interviews. And actually, to get the job that I'm going to be going into next September in a law firm, I had to do that. It was a good place for me to start getting some group experience and just how to interact with people I never met before. So I actually found it really useful in the end. But that definitely doesn't make it any less scary for anybody who has anxiety. So I feel for you, but you can do it. So I did my research online, kind of figured it would just be a really generic interview about like, why do I like Disney? Why do I want to work for Disney? All the usual kind of interview questions you would expect. Arrived up on the day, that was not the case. There was about 12 of us in the interview and everybody was so nice. They were so bubbly, so friendly. I was in my element with all these wonderful people who were so super nice and we were all going to get on so well and be such best friends and it was amazing. And then you realise you're competing against each other for a job. We all sat down. The interview lasted 2 hours, so be prepared to be in there for 2 hours in the Dublin store anyway. I assume nothing has changed. So we sat down and they started off with really generic questions. Tell us about yourself. Who's your favorite Disney character? Of course I was like, Belle, because she's amazing. She's a badass, but she's sweet and kind and oh, I could go on and on. That is a story for a different day. Then the real stuff kicked in. We were told to pick a character or a toy of some sort that was Disney related from a box of toys that were in the corner of the room. So I believe I had a Mickey and Minnie plush toy. I was like, oh my god, what am I going to say about this? Okay. And then they decided to add in the fact that you needed to work in a team and you needed to put together a sketch. Yeah. My heart was like this. I was like, no way, I'm just gonna exit now. I'm not doing this. I can't. I literally can't do it. But then everybody else was really getting in the spirit and really trying their hardest. I think they were as nervous as I was, but they were hiding it really well and doing a good job at just kind of getting through it. Rosie, did you just jump on my bed? I was like, okay, get your head in the game. Everybody else is doing it. You have to do it as well. So we came up with like this sketch about Minnie and Mickey's birthday party and the thing was crashed and it was all a big joke and nightmare and we did really well. People laughed at us. I can't remember who was in my group, which is such a shame because I met a ton of fabulous people working in that shop. You need to kind of focus on the business aspects of Disney rather than the what you love about Disney because you are going in as a cast member, you're going in to do a job they want you to sell. So be prepared for that. If people are interested in kind of talking a little bit more about the interview process, if you want to go for a job for Disney, then let me know in the comments below and I can do a whole video on interview prep for a job like that. So about 2 weeks later, I got a call back to say I got the job and yeah, this is me. Like, oh my god, I knew nothing about the place at this point, clearly. And I was so happy. Went in for my first day. Instantly we were put to work and instantly I was getting along with people. There's so many of you who were a big influence on my life and still are, and we still talk and we still have a laugh. Stephen, Sinead, Alison, Jess, Graham, there's so many of you who I'm still in contact with, and we just have the best laugh when we do see each other, even though it's not that regularly. So shout out to all of you, I miss you. Our first day was a little bit crazy. Our manager was trying to show us all the ropes really quickly, getting us on tills, getting used to the stockroom, which was up 3 flights of stairs. Yeah. At this stage, everybody was super amicable, really happy to be there. We just really wanted to get on with what we were doing, get trained in. We knew that as cast members, we had a big responsibility, because you're not just somebody who is working in a traditional retail store. You need to be selling, you need to be upbeat, you need to be positive, you need to be happy. You need to put everything behind you at the door and go in and do a job and entertain, and it's hard, you know, it was mentally taxing, but I never came out of there in a bad mood. Yeah, most days. You know, there's always that one manager that makes you feel like this big. From what I can remember, the shift patterns were very flexible in terms of working around college. They were pretty decent about that. I remember them being very long and very physically grueling. If you don't have a pair of good shoes, you're going to struggle working in a Disney store, because it is so much running around, so much standing, no time to sit. If you're at the tills, you're standing. If you're at the front door doing greet, you're standing. If you're in the stockroom, you're standing. So please invest in a good pair of shoes. And that kind of goes across the board for a lot of retail stores, actually. So yeah, I would just say, just make that investment. You will thank yourself for it. So that was probably one of the things that I found really difficult about working there, was working until 11 o'clock at night and having to walk home, because I actually lived super close to the Disney store in Dublin at that time. So there was no like public transport. I literally didn't need it, but I still needed to walk 15 minutes. That was tough. Danny had to come and collect me a lot, or I had to just say, no, I can't do those shifts. That got me into a little bit of bother, you know, and they weren't too pleased about that, but you gotta stand up for yourself at the same time. So you're probably at this point wondering why I still don't work there, or why I didn't continue to work there. And not to bash anybody in particular, but there was a manager who no longer works there that essentially made my life very difficult and made the lives of the staff members around me very, very difficult, which is not what you would expect from a manager of a Disney store. Okay, we know we've targets to make. We know you have to answer to your senior management, but that does not excuse treating your staff members like... I can remember really clearly one day, it was Christmas time, so it was extremely, extremely busy. And I suffer really badly with crowd anxiety. I don't like to be in crowds of people. Karen and Michael, you'll know that from when we went to Slane and everybody was trying to squeeze out, and I was like, oh my god, we need to get out, we need to get out now. It's just something that makes me feel really uncomfortable, and I just kind of prefer not to be in those situations. So I asked the manager, let's call her Jane. I asked Jane, could I just leave the floor for 5 minutes just to get some air, because I was feeling really overwhelmed by the crowds and the amount of people who were asking me for things, and literally I just wanted 5 minutes to just cool off. I'd been on stage for 3 hours at that point. I was feeling really stressed, really overwhelmed. You know that feeling you get in your chest where you just... I was getting like that, and I just wanted to take a few moments to just chill out, and she looked at me with the most evil intentions in her eyes, like she wanted to slap me down, and told me to get over it if I needed time to get off the stage and stay off the stage. Cue Sinead, sensitive soul, tears, floods of tears. Left the stage, went upstairs, rang Danny, was like, I'm leaving this place, I hate this, I'm not staying here, how could she talk to me like that? I was devastated. And there was another kind of less senior manager who was so nice to me at the time and calmed me down, and you know, told me to kind of brush it off. Everybody was a bit stressed. It was Christmas. It was just one of those days where there's a lot of pressure on people. So I said, okay, I'll go back down, I'll try again. Went back down on stage, continued on with my shift. But that incident was the beginning of a string of incidents with myself and with other people where we were not treated the way we should have been treated. I remember the big pillar at the front of the store, which always needs to be packed out. Obviously, people walking past, it doesn't look good to have an empty pillar at the front. So I was tasked to fill that up, and the stockroom was 3 floors up. You had to climb a flight of stairs. Everything had to come down via those stairs. Cast members were not allowed to use the lift. All right. You could get over this occasionally when you weren't under severe pressure, but this, Jane had decided she had it out for me and wanted me to carry, like a donkey, 2 huge sacks full of anime dolls down the stairs. Cool. I was sweating, I was heaving, I was out of breath, and it still wasn't good enough for her. Thanks, Jane. Thank you. Incidents like this were making me so fed up. It was also another day where I came bottom of the list of sales. So essentially you have to meet certain targets. You have to sell a bag or a box or you know, whatever promo was on along with your sales. So you are behind the till and you're talking to your customer and you're saying, hi, blah, blah, blah. Here's the fact about what you've just bought. Can I offer you this box to put your mug in? And the person says yes, and you say fantastic, you tick it off. It was Christmas time and there were a lot of elderly people coming in to buy things for their grandchildren, and I would offer them a box because that was my job, and I did, and they say no. And I could see the manager looking at me being like, try harder, you know, ask them again. And I asked again, and the lady kind of looked at me, and honestly, I never felt like that before. I was like, what am I doing? I do not want to force sales on a pensioner. This is insane. I am not going to make them buy something they don't want to buy. I'm not going to force them. I'm not going to ask them repeatedly to buy a box. I'm just not going to do it. They're probably in here with 20 quid to spend on 5 grandchildren, and I am not going to be the one to stand there and put them under pressure to spend more money. That was my reasoning, that was my thoughts. I still to this day wouldn't do it, so I don't regret a single aspect of how I acted that day or how I continue to act after that, not forcing sales upon people who didn't want the product. So you can kind of take from what I'm saying that I did not stay there. I left pretty swiftly after those incidents. I think I stayed until the end of Christmas, and that was it. I've been told I was being kept on, and then I was told I wasn't kept on, and then I asked why I wasn't being kept on, and that was the reason, and I accepted that and I moved on, because while I loved my time with the people that I met, I loved being in the environment, I loved listening to Disney songs on repeat all day, every day. The sales environment aspect of it is pretty horrific. You need to have a thick skin, be prepared to get absolutely berated if you don't come out on top. I found that really, really stressful and really difficult emotionally to deal with. Looking back on it, I'm glad I didn't stay there because it was not a healthy work environment. It was fairly toxic. I was being put down every day by somebody who didn't even know me or know my situation, who didn't understand crowd anxiety or social anxiety, who didn't understand that my morals were different to theirs, my principles were different to company values. And as time has moved on, I learned to understand that that's the nature of business, that's the nature of Disney is a company. Let's be real about it. They need to make money. They need people to work for them who want to make money, not just a Disney princess who wants to stand there and play with kids all day, you know? And I didn't go in there with that opinion, but I definitely went in there with thoughts or images or perceptions of working there that were a lot different to the reality. So it is a shame it ended that way, but would I change it? Absolutely not. So I hope this video was enough to give you just a tiny insight into what it might be like for you if you do decide to work at the Disney store anywhere. This is just my personal experience. Nothing in here reflects any other Disney store. I have worked in one, and I have had experience with one manager for 4 months, and that was it. So please just take my opinion with a pinch of salt, but I can only assume that the sales pressure will be the same everywhere. That is something that's going to remain consistent, and I hope that you have a nice manager that wants to encourage you, a theory Y instead of a theory X. Oh yeah, taking it back to my Leaving Cert business. So I think we will leave it there. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you want me to do any more Disney related content, specifically on working at the Disney store or any aspect of it that you want me to talk about more, please let me know down below and I can absolutely throw out another video for you. Please don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. I would love to get this video to 50 thumbs up if possible, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so for more videos like this. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!